Hello guys, welcome to my channel. Today we'll be learning the Caro-Kann defense. So let's start simple. Let's learn what the basic version of Caro-Kann means. Caro-Kann starts with e4. Black goes c6, white goes d4, getting a nice center attack. Black goes d5, attacking the pawn on e4 and getting a solid pawn chain. White goes knight to c3, getting a nice defense on the pawn on e4. And this is the basic version of Caro-Kann which is played in every Caro-Kann opening variations. Now let's start with Caro-Kann's first variation, that is called the exchange variation. So as we know, in the exchange variation, it starts like the usual Caro-Kann opening. It is e4, c6, d4, d5, creating the similar pawn chain. Pawn takes pawn over here for the exchange variation. Here, black has two options, taking the pawn and the queen. Black takes with the pawn. Bishop comes to d3, controlling the diagonals. Knight comes to c6, attacking the pawn on the center. Then pawn goes on c3, defending the pawn. Queen comes to c7, defending the pawn on b7. Knight comes to e2. Black knight comes to f6. White castles, protecting the pawns so that the queen does not attack the pawn on h2. Bishop comes to g4, doing a pin. Knight comes to d2. Black castles the queen side. White moves b3, trying to pawn storm towards the black's king side. Then black goes for g6, trying to create a fianchetto where black's bishop comes to g7. White goes to a3. Black's bishop does the fianchetto and goes to g7. White continues with the pawn storming c4. Black does h5, pawn storming 2. White goes queen c2, creating a battery. Next comes the Caro-Kann's advanced variation. You can see this set of moves have been already played as shown earlier in the video, signifying that these moves are always played. It's the key moves played in the Caro-Kann opening. White plays e5 now, controlling the f6, d6 and the c5 positions. Black moves bishop to f5. The reason why black has done it, so that next move when it moves e6 to get the other bishop out, the pawn won't block the bishop from moving out. After this, white moves knight to f3 so that it protects the pawn on e5 and the d4 pawn. And then black moves e6, creating a strong pawn pyramid. Here finally comes the fantasy variation. Again, it starts from the same key set of moves. White plays f3, protecting the pawns in the center. Black takes the pawn, trying to get the center. White takes the pawn back, trying to control the center again. Now next, black plays e5. Now this move tries to attack the center pawn on d4. White's knight comes to f3, protecting the pawn on d4. Black still captures the pawn on d4. Knight can take the pawn, but then white moves to white's bishop moves to c4. Black's bishop moves g4, creating a pin on the knight. Bishop takes f7, which is a stunning sacrifice, checking the king. King is forced to take the bishop. Now knight moves to e5, giving another check, so that now when the king is in check, the king has to escape and the queen can take the bishop on g4. And this completes the Caro-Kann opening. If you like the video, please like it, share it and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.